Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is BYAOKO. So today we're going to crochet this top over here. This is a one hand, or is it off shoulder? Yeah, this is one hand top, and the pattern we've used here looks more of a knitted stitch, and that's the effect that I wanted to achieve. Plus this pattern is super stretchy, so a little goes a long way. So I haven't weaved in my ends, but this is how the top looks like. So for this top, for this tutorial, you are going to need your starting height, which is this side over here. So this height is going to determine the total height of your top. So if you need to make it longer, start with longer chain stitches. And if you really love what you're seeing here, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, give this video a thumbs up, and yeah, you can watch this video until the end because it's a short one. Yeah, let's get started. To begin, make a slip knot and always leave a long tail to help you weave in your ends. And then you're going to make a number of chain stitches depending on the size that you're working with. And while chaining your stitches, chain just loosely, do not tighten your stitches. I have 37 chain stitches, so put this on your measuring tape and do not stretch it out because you don't have to stretch the height. Never stretch the height of anything. So what I've done is I want my total height to be 10 inches, and this pattern will shrink just a little bit, so that's why I have an allowance of 1 inch, or about half an inch, so it's around 10.5 or 11 can still do. So it's important for you to give just a little bit of an allowance, and also don't stretch your work while measuring the height. So to begin on your first row, you're going to turn your work around, and we're going to work through the back loops. These bumps over here, you're going to work through those back loop. And so in the second chain from the hook, skip the first one, and in the second chain from the hook, make a slip stitch. Make a slip stitch. Do not tighten your slip stitch. In the second chain, also make a slip stitch. And so you're going to go ahead and make slip stitch in each and every stitch. I'm going to meet you towards the end. I'm at the end of the row, and I hope you have something like this. This is just a plain row of slip stitch. To start off the next row, you're going to chain 2 and then turn your work around, and then you're going to make a slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. So skip the first chain. In the second chain from the hook, make a slip stitch, and now you're going to work through the back loop. So go ahead and make slip stitch in each and every stitch until you complete this row. Remember to make your slip stitch loosely so that it won't give you a hard time while working on the next row. If you make it too tight, it's going to be a bit hectic to work through the back loop. And in the last chain from the hook, we are going to do something a little bit different. Instead of going through the back loop, you're going to go through both loops only in the last stitch and then complete it off. To start off the next row, chain 1, turn your work around, and also at the start of the row, you're not going to, in the first stitch, you're not going to go through the back loop. You're going to go through the both loops and make your first slip stitch like that. And then now go ahead and make slip stitch through the back loop in each and every stitch, and then I'm going to meet you at the end of the row. And also in the last stitch, you're not going to go through the back loop, you're going to go through both loops. So the reason why we are doing this is to eliminate the space that will happen if you go through the back loop in the last stitch, like that. To start off your next row, chain 2. So the reason why you're chaining 2 is because of you are adding an additional stitch per row. So when you turn your work, you're going to skip the first stitch, and in the second stitch you're going to make a slip stitch, and that forms an increase. Okay, and then you're going to go through the back loop and make a slip stitch in each and every stitch, and then I'm going to meet you at the end of the row. Remember, the pattern is only slip stitch, nothing else, until you're done. And in the last stitch, you're supposed to go through both loops and create your last slip stitch. So the pattern is super easy. This is how it looks like, and it's very stretchy. So you're going to repeat this, what we've done. You're going to continue increasing your work. So this is from one side of your bust, of your boob, from side boob to the other side. So I'm going to work a few more rows, and then I'm going to show you what to do. So at this point, I've continued increasing my work, and the pattern is going to change just a little bit over here to start making the shoulder. So this height that I have increased, this part over here lies on the shoulder over here, just around my neck on the shoulder. And then now we're going to start working in straight line, and then we're going to start reducing our work so that it can level from this point to this, and then from this point to this other point. So this is the front panel, and I'm working with a bust size of 34 inches. So it means the front part should be 17 inches, and then the back part is going to be 17 inches. And this is how the pattern looks like. It looks like a knitted stitch, and this pattern is so stretchy. So at this point, if I measure my work, it's only 8 inch, but you need to stretch your work across. So if I stretch my work, it can go up to 13 inch. I don't want to overstretch, because if I overstretch it can go up to 16, but I want to maintain this pattern, so just stretch it a little bit. And so I have 13, and I should have almost 17. Let me just say it's 14 now. So I need to add a few more rows so that I can have 17 stitches. And so this is what we're going to do. After reaching the peak where this rests on your shoulder, you're just going to, do not chain 2 to increase. You're just going to chain 1, turn your work around, and work in straight line. So in the first stitch, always go through both loops, and then you're going to make a slip stitch through the back loop. And then when you get to this point, you're going to chain 1, come, continue working in straight line. Do not chain 2, just chain 1 and turn. And then I'm going to meet you at that point. So I have worked in straight line, and this area over here is going to rest on my shoulder, and it's approximately 2 inches, but you can make it wider depending on the look you want to achieve. But be mindful so that you don't make this part in excess, because it's going to spill over your shoulder. Yeah, so once you have that, the next thing you're going to do is we need to level these two sides together. So the number of stitches you started with on this other side, for me these stitches are 36, so I have made 36 stitches up to this point. I have actually made 35, so in the last stitch you're going to work through both loops. So I'm making the 36th stitch and I'm going through both loops to make it like that. So now we're going to work in straight line for a few rows, and this area is underneath your armpit. Yeah, so just chain 1 and turn, just working in straight line, and in the first stitch you're going to go through both loops, and then you're going to go through back loop until you complete the row. You chain 1, you go back and forth for a few rows like this. So this part over here, it's around 1 inch, so it's going to fall under the armpit. So now at this point you are done with the front panel. You can measure from this to this, stretch it out, so if it fits your half size of your bust, then everything is okay. So now you're going to repeat the same thing again, make a same exact panel like this, and then I'm going to show you how to attach the two sides together. So once you have your two equal panels, we are going to join them, and the beauty with this pattern, there's no wrong or right side because of the pattern, so both sides looks the same. So the first thing we're going to do is to join the shoulder part, and I'm going to use this darning needle to do so. So we're only joining the straight line area where you made the straight lines. So tie these two together. I love tying twice to secure it well, and then now you're going to weave in. So make sure you are aligning them per row while weaving in. And then in the last stitch you're going to try to tighten it like that, and then I'm going to weave in this later, and now this is going to be your right side, and now this is going to be your wrong side, like that. So the next thing we're going to do is to weave in the sides. So now that you have your right side and the wrong side, you are going to weave in your sides using the wrong side. So to sew the two sides together, you're going to pass your hook, your needle through both two loops and onto the other side, and then tighten it into the next stitch, both through loops, and on the other side both through loops, and tighten it. So repeat this until the end of the row, and then you're going to repeat this on the other side as well, and this is how it looks like. And as simple as that, our top is finally done. So let me try this on, and remember to weave in your ends. Take your time and weave in your ends keenly because it's quite important. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you so much for watching until the end. I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.